Hello, welcome to the Sound of Science, the place where we deconstruct unscientific bogus and silly scams. Let's go get them. Hello, you wonderful people. Thank you so much for watching. Today I found a video on YouTube of a preacher. Look, I don't know if this guy calls himself a preacher, pastor, pope or priest. To me, that's just a meaningless ranking of clowns. So I'll stick with preacher today. Okay, so we're talking about a preacher called Glyn Barrett. And he promises to defeat atheism in 2 minutes. Of course, that got my attention. Since the position of atheism hasn't been defeated in thousands of years, it would surprise me really if this dude could do this in 2 minutes. So, let's have a look at what he's got to say.
A little while ago, I was invited to a university to speak at the Atheistic Society.
Okay, so you got invited to a debate at an atheist society. Could be. People get invitations to debates all the time. No red flags yet.
And they said this, the debate is this, the premise is, there is no God.
Well, that doesn't sound like a very likely premise for a debate at an atheist society, because a premise like that is kind of difficult to debate in the first place. Compare it, for example, to a premise such as there are no pixies, and the monster of Loch Ness and the Easter Bunny do not exist. What kind of evidence could prove that they don't exist? So it's a bit of a weird premise. So no red flags yet, but the story gets a bit less likely now.
The president of the Atheistic Club, he will stand up and he will share for 15 minutes on how there is no God, and then we're going to give you 10 minutes to prove to us that there is a God. I said, bro, I don't need 10, I only need 2 minutes.
Your 2-minute claim sounds highly ridiculous, and there is something else that bothers me. All of this looks pretty familiar. Did this really happen?
How can any rational person believe that there is a God? You got to be stupid to believe that there is a God, and all these sorts of things, all the things that you've heard. So I get up on stage and there's boos and hisses and all these sorts of things. And
okay, so you're now framing atheists as the bad guys. Can't you just get to your atheism-crushing argument? Sweet mother of Gandalf. Did this guy go to the Ben Shapiro School for Mumbo-Jumbo?
So I went down, I won't tell you which university it was, but I drove to Cambridge, and when I got to Cambridge...
Sweet uncle of Frodo. I've been digging a bit deeper into this, and I found out that the Atheist Society of the University of Cambridge never invited this man in the first place. So we're only a few seconds into his video, and we already know this guy is a fraud. This never happened. A Christian apologist making up a fantasy story. How surprising. But let's continue. It can't get more silly than this, or can it?
And the lead atheist, he gets up and he's preaching. And he's spitting and he's frothing at the mouth.
No, you cucumber for brains. Atheists are not preaching. They are just reasoning, mostly based upon verifiable evidence. Preaching is what you do when you want to convince a gullible audience that an unproven God exists.
I go into this lecture hall, right? And there's, I don't know, 1,000, 800, 1,000 students there. And
Unfortunately, I have to raise another huge red flag here. Not only did this not happen, he possibly even stole this story from someone else. I'm afraid he is even too lazy to make up his own lies. This whole story is just a routine that has been done by another Christian apologist as well. And if we compare the 2 videos of these guys, it looks as if the other Christian apologist did it years earlier. At least one of them must have stolen the routine from the other. I'll show you a step-by-step comparison that undisputedly proves that the 2 stories are the same. At least one of them just made the story up. Maybe both of them. I'll let you decide who stole the routine from whom.
We want you to come and speak at this university.
I was invited to a university.
And so I said, fine.
I said, fine.
You have to speak for 1 hour and show that there's a God from astronomy. then our astronomer is going to speak for 1 hour and show why there is no God.
The president of the Atheistic Club, he will stand up and he will share for 15 minutes on how there is no God, and then we're going to give you 10 minutes to prove to us that there is a God.
And, I was like the lamb thrown to the wolves.
Have you ever read the verse, led like a lamb to the slaughter?
And I said, let's say that knowledge is a body of 100%.
I said, this circle represents knowledge.
Would you say that your students know 90% of all there is to know in the world?
How much do you know of everything that could possibly be known?
Let's say your students know 5%.
I said, so that's what you do know? He said, yes.
If your students know 5% of all there is to know, it means that they don't know 95% of all there is to know.
I said, and that's what you don't know? He said, yes.
Could it be possible that God exists in the 95% of the knowledge they don't have?
Therefore, could God not exist in a dimension that you haven't yet discovered?
You see, as I told you, at least one of those guys is just a clown who steals a fantasy story from another person in order to delude a gullible audience. How surprising. Now, back to the atheism refuting argument itself, because it's stupid beyond belief.
And I drew a circle on a whiteboard like this. I said, this circle represents knowledge. How much do you know of everything that could possibly be known? So he took a pen and he drew that and he went, I reckon I know this much. I said, so that's what you do know? He said, yes. I said, and that's what you don't know? He said, yes. Therefore, could God not exist in a dimension that you haven't yet discovered?
It is totally baffling that his audience applauds for this. Instead, they should recognize him as a fool. I can debunk his 2-minute debunk of atheism in less than 5 seconds. And it goes like this. Where in the circle would you put pixies, the monster of Loch Ness, and the Easter Bunny? Couldn't they also exist in the 90% of the circle that you don't have knowledge about? Congratulations, silly guy. If your reasoning would be valid, you have just proven the existence of Santa Claus. Nice. But the stupidity of this argument goes even beyond that. If we accept his line of reasoning, then indeed we can use his wonderful circle to prove that Santa Claus might exist. But if we take a look at the actual logic of this circle, we can easily see how his argument even supports the position of atheism. You see, there is a circle, and the upper part of that circle represents the stuff that we do know, and the lower part of that circle represents the stuff that we don't know. That is his model and his words.
I said, so that's what you do know? He said, yes. I said, and that's what you don't know? He said, yes.
So, this is a question for all of you, but especially for those Christians out there who think this preacher made a good point. What part of the circle contains the stuff that we should believe? Just take a wild guess. What should we believe? The stuff that we do know or the stuff that we don't know? Remember, this is the model of a very popular Christian apologist preacher guy. I'll say it for one last time. Do we believe the stuff that we do know, or do we believe the stuff that we don't know? You can put your finger at the part that you think we should believe. You can do it. Did you do it? Good. There was no way out of this, wasn't there? But well done. Of course, the stuff that we do know is the stuff that we should believe. And of course, the stuff that we don't know is the stuff that we should not believe. And as soon as stuff moves from the lower part to the upper part, then we should start believing it. This fool in the video already admitted that the God claim is part of the stuff that we don't know. It's his own words, so that is the part we should not believe until we do know it's true. That's what atheists do. But this pickled onion for brains tried to prove the existence of a God by showing you that his supposed God is part of the stuff we don't know. What a totally epic failure. Well, that was it for today. If you watched this video, please let me know if you agree with me or not. I'm interested in your arguments. Please address them properly. So tell me why you agree or disagree with things I actually said. Please don't bother to address things I never said in the first place. There is no point for me in defending positions I never took. Please just stick to the arguments as presented in my video. Please don't post random Bible quotes. They don't prove anything, and it's basically spam. Thanks for watching, and I will be curiously awaiting your comments. Now, while you're here and thinking about your response, please consider to subscribe to my channel. It would greatly help me to make more videos and spread the sound of science. Thanks.